Hey Switch fans, welcome back to Switch Top. Today we're diving into the absolute best Metroidvania games you can play on Nintendo Switch right now. These games nail that perfect mix of exploration, backtracking with new abilities, and interconnected worlds that keep you hooked for hours. Let's jump right into it.
Spelunky 2 might seem like an odd pick for a Metroidvania list, since it's technically a roguelike platformer. But hear me out. Each randomly generated run feels like exploring an interconnected world where your knowledge and skills unlock new paths and secrets. You're exploring the moon in search of your missing parents, descending through procedurally generated caverns filled with traps, enemies, and treasure. The genius here is how the game teaches you through experimentation and failure. Every item, enemy, and environmental hazard follows consistent rules that you learn over time. You'll discover shortcuts between worlds, hidden areas like the black market, and alternate paths that completely change your route through the game. The controls are incredibly tight, with mechanics like whip attacks, throwing items, climbing ropes, and using an arsenal of weapons and tools you find or buy. Each biome introduces new enemy types, environmental hazards, and mechanics to master, while the online co-op lets you tackle the brutal difficulty with friends, though it somehow makes things even more chaotic and hilarious. Blaster Master 03 takes the series to space, with Jason and Eve piloting the G Sophia SV tank on a dimension-hopping adventure to save Eve from mutant infection. The game alternates between side-scrolling tank exploration and top-down sections where Jason exits the vehicle to explore tighter spaces and battle bosses. The tank combat feels weighty and satisfying, with a variety of weapons including the classic cannon, missiles, and new abilities like the Striker mode that transforms your tank into different forms for specific situations. You'll explore interconnected planetary systems, each with distinct biomes and environmental puzzles that require specific tank upgrades to access. The VRV system is brilliant. You can analyze defeated enemies to gain temporary transformations with unique abilities that help you reach new areas or tackle tough encounters. The story actually gets surprisingly emotional as it deals with themes of sacrifice and what it means to be human, building on the previous games in a meaningful way. Boss battles are intense, pattern-based affairs that test your mastery of all your abilities, and the upgrade system lets you customize your tank's stats. Salt and Sanctuary throws you into a dark 2D world as a sailor who survives a shipwreck on a mysterious island filled with nightmarish creatures and forgotten gods. This is basically Dark Souls in 2D. You'll collect salt from enemies as currency and experience, but dying means dropping it all and having one chance to retrieve it. The combat is methodical and punishing, with stamina management, dodge rolling, blocking, and parrying all crucial to survival. You choose from multiple classes at the start, but can build your character however you want through a massive skill tree that determines your stats, equipment proficiency, and special abilities. Sanctuaries act as checkpoints where you can level up, craft items, and choose a deity to follow that grants unique bonuses and affects which NPCs appear. The interconnected world is massive, with shortcuts, secret areas, and multiple paths that open up as you gain new abilities like wall jumping and air dashing. Boss fights are brutal tests of pattern recognition and patience, each one guarding essential progression items. The co-op mode lets a second player join your world, making the challenging journey slightly more manageable while maintaining that oppressive gothic atmosphere.
All right, it's me and you, buddy. Ah! I want to parry a boss. I can't parry a weak enemy. I want to parry a boss, though. Ouch.
The Messenger starts as a straightforward ninja action platformer, where you're a young warrior tasked with delivering a scroll to save your village from a demon attack. But halfway through, it completely transforms into something else entirely. The movement system is incredibly fluid, with tight controls for running, jumping, wall climbing, and the signature cloud stepping mechanic that lets you refresh your jump by attacking enemies or objects mid-air. This creates an almost rhythm game feel to the platforming, as you chain jumps and attacks to traverse tricky sections.
The game brilliantly shifts between 8-bit and 16-bit visual styles as you travel through time portals, with each era offering different versions of the same areas with new paths and secrets. The writing is genuinely funny, with a shopkeeper who constantly breaks the fourth wall and pokes fun at gaming tropes. Once the game opens up into full Metroidvania mode, you're backtracking through all the levels with new abilities like the rope dart and dimensional rift, uncovering hidden areas and power seals. Boss battles are fast-paced tests of your mobility and pattern recognition, while the level design is consistently creative, with new gimmicks and hazards introduced regularly. Magnolia drops you into a beautiful, post-apocalyptic world as Lilac, an artificer who awakens in a kingdom ravaged by a mysterious mist that turned people into monsters called homunculi. You explore the hauntingly gorgeous, interconnected realm of the Land of Fumes, uncovering what happened through environmental storytelling and scattered lore. The combat system is elegant and precise. You wield a staff for melee attacks and can summon spirits of purified homunculi to fight alongside you, each with unique attack patterns and abilities. These spirits aren't just combat tools, they're essential for exploration, granting abilities like double jumps, dashes, and environmental interactions that open new paths. The progression feels natural as you gradually build your arsenal of spirits and discover the tragic stories behind each homunculi boss you encounter. The watercolor art style is absolutely stunning, with detailed backgrounds and smooth animations that bring the melancholic atmosphere to life. Boss battles are challenging but fair, requiring you to learn patterns and exploit weaknesses using the right spirit combinations. The Castlevania Advance Collection bundles 3 incredible Game Boy Advance titles: Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, and Aria of Sorrow, bringing Symphony of the Night's Metroidvania formula to handheld perfection. Circle of the Moon has you playing Nathan Graves using a whip and a unique DSS card system that lets you combine different cards to create magical effects and transformations. Harmony of Dissonance stars Just Belmont, exploring a massive castle that exists in 2 parallel dimensions simultaneously, requiring you to switch between them to access different areas and solve puzzles. But the crown jewel is Aria of Sorrow, set in 2035, where you play as Soma Cruz, who can absorb enemy souls to gain their powers and abilities. It's basically Pokemon meets Castlevania. Each game has sprawling, interconnected castles filled with secrets, hidden rooms, multiple endings, and tons of equipment to find. The combat in all 3 is tight, with responsive controls, varied enemy types, and epic boss battles against classic Castlevania monsters. The collection adds modern features like save states, rewind, and the ability to play the original versions or updated international releases. Axiom Verge 2 is a completely standalone story set in the same universe, where you play as Indra, a billionaire's daughter searching for her missing daughter in Antarctica, only to find herself in a strange parallel world. The gameplay takes a different approach from the first game. Combat is less emphasized, with a boomerang-like weapon and drone that you control remotely to hack enemies and reach distant areas. The drone mechanics are central to exploration, letting you slip through tiny passages, manipulate the environment, and scout ahead for threats. You'll shift between the normal world and a glitchy parallel dimension called the Breach, where the rules of reality break down and new paths appear. The upgrade system focuses more on mobility and exploration tools rather than combat power, with abilities like grappling hooks and water traversal opening up the map. The pixel art is gorgeous, with alien landscapes that feel truly otherworldly, while the story explores themes of consciousness, reality, and what it means to exist across multiple dimensions. Environmental storytelling is key here. You'll piece together the narrative through notes, cutscenes, and observation, rather than exposition dumps.
Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom is a spiritual successor to the Wonder Boy series, where you play as Jin, a young hero who must stop his uncle from turning everyone into animals using a powerful spell. The transformation mechanic is the core of everything. You'll shift between 5 different animal forms, plus your human form, each with completely unique abilities and physics. As a pig, you can sniff out secrets and use your weight to break floors. The snake lets you climb walls and fit through tight spaces. The frog has a grappling tongue and can swim. The lion wields a sword and can destroy obstacles, and the dragon can fly and use elemental attacks. The level design is brilliantly crafted around these transformations, with puzzles that require you to chain different forms in creative sequences. You'll find equipment and gear for each form that changes their abilities and stats, creating light RPG elements. The hand-drawn art style is absolutely gorgeous, with vibrant colors and fluid animations that make every screen look like a painting. Boss fights are inventive and often require clever use of your transformations to exploit weaknesses. Bow, Path of the Teal Lotus brings Japanese folklore to life in a hand-drawn Metroidvania where you play as Bow, a celestial fox on a quest to save Japan from an ancient evil spreading corruption across the land. The movement system feels absolutely incredible. With your staff serving as both a weapon and a traversal tool, you can pogo off enemies and objects, use it to grapple to specific points, and perform aerial combos that keep you airborne for extended periods. The combat is fast and satisfying, with a variety of unlockable techniques, charged attacks, and special abilities tied to Japanese mythological themes. You'll explore beautifully realized environments inspired by real Japanese locations and folklore, each area filled with unique enemies, platforming challenges, and secrets. The ability progression introduces moves like wall running, double jumps, and dash attacks that fundamentally change how you navigate the world. The watercolor art style is breathtaking, with incredible attention to detail in character designs, backgrounds, and enemy animations. Boss battles are intense affairs that test both your combat skills and movement mastery, often requiring you to use recently acquired abilities in creative ways. Nine Souls is a gorgeous, hand-drawn Metroidvania set in a world blending Eastern mythology with sci-fi dystopia, where you play as Yi, a cat-like warrior who awakens seeking revenge against the 9 soul gods who rule over New Kunlun. The combat system is absolutely brutal, inspired by Sekiro, with a parry-based deflection mechanic that's essential for survival. Timing your deflections perfectly opens enemies up for devastating counterattacks. You'll unlock different Tao powers that function as both offensive abilities and exploration tools, letting you manipulate time, phase through objects, and interact with the environment in creative ways. The interconnected world is massive and dense with secrets, from hidden paths to optional challenges that reward you with powerful upgrades and lore fragments. The story dives deep into themes of sacrifice, immortality, and the cost of technological advancement, delivered through gorgeous cutscenes and environmental storytelling that gradually reveals the dark history of this civilization. Boss fights are phenomenal, each soul presenting unique mechanics and multi-phase battles that demand mastery of your entire moveset. Ori and the Will of the Wisps continues the journey of the White Guardian spirit as you venture beyond Nibel Forest to uncover Ori's true destiny and save a friend from a dark fate. The movement system is absolutely phenomenal, with abilities like Bash that lets you launch off projectiles and enemies in any direction, creating fluid aerial sequences that feel incredible to execute. You'll unlock combat abilities this time around, including a spirit sword, bow, and various spells that make you feel way more capable in fights compared to the first game. The interconnected world of Naiwen is massive and gorgeous, filled with distinct biomes from underwater caverns to windswept deserts, each hiding secrets and side quests from memorable NPCs. The shard system lets you equip passive abilities that customize your playstyle, whether you want more health, damage, or utility.
Boss battles and escape sequences are intense cinematic moments that push your movement skills to the limit. The difficulty options are generous, letting you tune the experience to your preference, while the art style and orchestral soundtrack create an emotional atmosphere that hits hard. Animal Well is a bizarre and mysterious adventure where you wake up in a strange underground world filled with cryptic puzzles and strange creatures, with no explanation of who you are or what you're doing there. The game deliberately doesn't explain itself. You're given basic movement and a few items, like a yo-yo and bubble wand, then left to figure out how everything works through experimentation. The pixel art is incredibly detailed, with impressive lighting effects and environmental animations that make the world feel alive and unsettling. Puzzles are layered in brilliant ways, where solutions you discover early on unlock entirely new possibilities hours later when you realize items have hidden functions you never considered. The map is surprisingly compact, but densely packed with secrets, hidden rooms, and alternate paths that require serious observation and creative thinking to uncover. There's barely any combat. Instead, you're avoiding or manipulating the strange animals inhabiting this world, each following specific behavioral patterns you can exploit. The game has multiple layers of secrets beyond the initial completion, with obscure puzzles that the community is still solving together. Metroid Dread picks up after Fusion, with Samus investigating Planet ZDR after the Galactic Federation receives footage suggesting the dangerous X-parasites still exist, only to be ambushed and stripped of her abilities by a mysterious Chozo warrior. The gameplay refines the classic Metroid formula with incredibly smooth movement and the new slide ability that maintains momentum while letting you slip under tight spaces. The melee counter system from Samus returns, but feels even better, creating a risk-reward rhythm where perfectly timed counters leave enemies vulnerable for massive damage. The MMI zones are the standout addition. These sections have you hunted by nearly invincible robots in tense stealth sequences where one mistake means instant death, though you can temporarily gain the power to destroy them at specific points. Aeon abilities like the Phantom Cloak for invisibility and Flash Shift for rapid dashing add new tactical options for both combat and exploration. The map is brilliantly designed, with environmental station areas that feel distinct, connected by an intricate network of passages that open up as you gain abilities like the Morph Ball and Spider Magnet. SteamWorld Dig 2 has you playing as Dorothy, a steam-powered robot searching for her missing friend Rusty while uncovering the mystery of why tremors are destroying the world above. The core gameplay loop involves digging downward through destructible terrain, collecting gems and minerals, then returning to the surface town to upgrade your equipment and abilities. The pickaxe is your main tool, but you'll unlock a jackhammer for horizontal digging, a grappling hook for traversal, and various abilities like a ground pound and dash that fundamentally change how you navigate the caves. Unlike the first game, the world isn't randomly generated. The handcrafted levels are filled with secret caves, challenging platforming sections, and hidden collectibles that reward thorough exploration. You'll manage your light and water resources while underground, with water fueling your special abilities and creating interesting risk-reward decisions about when to spend it. Cogs you collect upgrade everything from your health to pickaxe power, while blueprint pieces unlock entirely new gear and abilities. The level design brilliantly introduces new mechanics and hazards as you descend deeper, from steam vents to magnetic surfaces. Blasphemous 2 throws you back into the nightmarish religious world of Custodia, as the Penitent One awakens to prevent the prophesied birth of a new child of the miracle.
The combat system is significantly expanded, with 3 starting weapons that completely change your playstyle. The heavy Veredicto mace staggers enemies, the quick Ruego al Alba dual blades build up combo counters, and the balanced Sarmiento and Centella rapier offers versatile offense. The parry system is incredibly satisfying, letting you deflect attacks with precise timing to open up devastating counterattacks, while the new dodge has invincibility frames that make positioning more dynamic. You'll explore a massive, interconnected world filled with grotesque religious imagery and twisted enemy designs that are disturbing and fascinating. The ability system uses resonances and prayers that you can equip and upgrade, offering both combat buffs and new traversal options like double jumps and wall climbs. Environmental hazards and platforming challenges are more prominent this time, requiring careful movement and creative use of your abilities. Boss battles are phenomenal, multi-phase encounters against disturbing creatures that test your mastery of combat mechanics. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown stars Sargon, a member of an elite Persian warrior group called the Immortals, who must rescue the kidnapped Prince Ghassan from Mount Kaf, a cursed place where time doesn't flow normally. The combat is incredibly fluid, with a combo system that lets you juggle enemies using light and heavy attacks, launcher moves, and powerful Athra abilities you unlock throughout the game. The parry window is generous and satisfying, rewarding perfect timing with opportunities for massive damage, while the dodge has directional control and can be cancelled into attacks for aggressive play. Time powers are central to both combat and puzzles. You can slow down time to navigate hazardous areas, create temporal clones that mimic your movements to solve multi-character puzzles, and rewind your position to reach difficult platforms. The screenshot feature is genius. You can take photos of the map and pin them to specific locations, essentially creating your own waypoint system for remembering where to return with new abilities. Mount Kaf is massive and intricately designed, with distinct biomes that each introduce new environmental hazards and enemy types.
Armed with his swords, Sargon can slash through his enemies and perform impressive juggling combos.
Menelaus' bow. What's going on?
You can also wield a powerful bow, greatly enhancing offensive and defensive abilities with its dual purpose.
Ori in the Blind Forest follows a small guardian spirit named Ori, who must restore the dying forest of Nibel by rekindling 3 essential elements after a tragic event caused by the owl Kuro. The movement is graceful and precise, with abilities like wall jump, charge jump, and the signature bash move that lets you launch off enemy projectiles and objects to reach incredible heights and speeds. The skill tree lets you choose between combat upgrades, utility abilities, and movement enhancements, allowing you to tailor Ori's capabilities to your playstyle. The Definitive Edition adds 2 new areas with challenging platforming gauntlets that test your mastery of all your abilities. Escape sequences are the highlight. These auto-scrolling chase sections where you're fleeing from rising water or collapsing environments while navigating precise platforming challenges are thrilling and intense. The save system uses soul links that you place manually at the cost of energy, creating tension about when and where to create checkpoints. Combat is simple, with a spirit flame that auto-targets nearby enemies, though later abilities add more offensive options.
Hollow Knight drops you into Hallownest, an ancient underground kingdom of bugs that's fallen into ruin and madness due to a mysterious infection spreading through the population. You play as a small, silent knight, exploring these depths to uncover the kingdom's dark secrets and your own mysterious origins. The combat is methodical and precise, with a simple nail weapon that you upgrade throughout the game, along with spells like fireballs and dive attacks that consume soul energy you generate by hitting enemies. The charm system is brilliant. You equip different combinations of 40+ charms that dramatically alter your playstyle, from increasing damage and health to changing how your spells function. Movement starts basic, but evolves significantly, with abilities like the Mothwing Cloak Dash, Mantis Claw Wall Climb, and Monarch Wings Double Jump, opening up the massive interconnected map. The world design is intricate, with multiple routes between areas, hidden rooms behind breakable walls, and secrets that require specific ability combinations to access. Boss fights are tough but fair, pattern-based encounters that demand you learn attack patterns and manage your resources carefully, with optional, harder versions for true challenges.
Dead Cells puts you in control of a sentient blob of cells inhabiting a decapitated prisoner's body, fighting through a constantly changing island prison to escape and uncover what happened to this cursed place. The roguelike structure means each run through procedurally generated levels is different, but you'll permanently unlock new weapons, abilities, and paths that expand your options for future attempts. Combat is incredibly fast and aggressive, with a huge arsenal of weapons from swords and whips to shields and bows, each with unique movesets and special effects. You can equip 2 main weapons and 2 skills, like turrets, grenades, or traps, creating tons of build variety based on what you find during each run. The mutation system lets you pick powerful passive abilities at certain points that synergize with your current build, like increased damage on bleeding enemies or healing when you parry. Movement is extremely fluid, with a dodge roll that has generous invincibility frames and the ability to seamlessly transition between platforming and combat. The level design mixes horizontal exploration with vertical areas filled with secrets, challenge rooms, and timed doors that reward fast players with better loot. Hollow Knight Silksong builds on the foundations of the original by reshaping the experience around Hornet's faster, more agile combat and movement, turning exploration into a constant flow of momentum and precision. Traversal feels more dynamic thanks to acrobatic jumps, dashes, and tool-based mobility that encourage vertical exploration and smart positioning rather than slow, methodical pacing. Combat emphasizes rhythm and resource management through the Silk system, rewarding aggressive but calculated play as Silk fuels healing, abilities, and special techniques. Customization plays a key role, with tools and crests allowing players to tailor their loadout to suit different encounters, whether focusing on raw damage, mobility, or survivability. Enemy and boss design leans heavily on pattern recognition and spatial awareness, pushing players to learn behaviors and adapt rather than rely on brute force. Narratively, the game adopts a more character-driven approach, following Hornet's journey through the kingdom of Farloom, where environmental storytelling and subtle dialogue gradually reveal lore and purpose. And there you have it, the top 20 best Metroidvania games on Nintendo Switch. These games showcase everything that makes the genre so addictive and satisfying. Which Metroidvania is your favorite? Did I miss any hidden gems? Let me know in the comments below, and tell me what game you think deserves the #1 spot. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and subscribe to Switch Top for more Nintendo Switch content. Until next time.